Okay, so what we're gonna do today is episode 3 of our recording video series, recording tutorials. I am gonna program some drums. So how we're gonna do that is, let me find the stage. There's like a million different ways to program drums. So like a lot of people are gonna use MIDI controller, like an MPC, a drum machine. A lot of recording softwares have like some kind of a drum sequencing interface in there for you to use to get some custom drum loops. The way that I do it is kind of unconventional, but it's the way that works for me well. I actually like drop into Pro Tools and I'll take a sample, like an actual audio file sample of like a mic'd kick drum or whatever I'm trying to sample, and I'll actually create a track for that instrument, for the kick or whatever, and then I will go in and manually paste each hit of the kick. If you're thinking that sounds like super labor intensive and time consuming, it is. It's super labor intensive and time consuming. Yesterday, I'm working on a song right now, and yesterday I spent maybe like 3.5 hours or maybe 4 hours programming on the drums, and I only got about 2/3 of the way done, but it's also a pretty long song. So let's talk about pros and cons. So the pros of doing it like that for me, first of all, whenever I first started doing Pro Tools and learning, I really didn't care about MIDI at all. I was like super anti electronic kind of music and anything like that. So I developed my skills more around how to, work with the actual audio files. I'm going to make actually I'm going to go import. So I actually have some files already sampled on here. I'm just going to go File, Import, Audio. But yeah, so like for starters, this is kind of just the best way that I learned how to do it, because I've always kind of done it this way, so I'm pretty good at it now. It's just more efficient, really, for me to do it this way than to learn a new way. Another thing that's kind of like, maybe you could incorporate this in your decision is like, whenever I do it the way that I do it, I have like individual control over every single instrument. So like every single hit of the kick, I'm gonna actually like go through and here we go. It's the snare bottom, snare top, kick hole, and kick beater. I'm just gonna import all these. So I'm gonna select all those, go convert all. They'll all pop up over here, and then I'm gonna go open, and I can get rid of what we don't need. They really don't need to be stereo files, but it don't matter. Okay, audio files. It's just asking me where to save these files at. So I'll just go right here. And I want to put these on new tracks. Say, okay. It's going to think. Okay, so what I end up with is 4 stereo tracks. I got, it says RC kick beater because it's like this. I sampled these for a song that I recorded called Remote Control. So I actually got my wife to play the kick so I could like move the microphone around and get some better sounds. So I got a mic in the beater. I got a mic, this is like actually a front mic pointed at the front of the kick drum, which is kind of unconventional. Here's a mic that was inside the hole where you usually kind of mic a kick at. I got a snare, the bottom of a snare mic, like the brushes, and then I got the top of the snare mic. And we can go ahead and listen to what some of that sounds like. Let me get my levels set. So, let me actually zoom in. Okay, zooming in. I need to make these tiny little files bigger. So I'm gonna go up here and hit this little right button a lot of times and get these files bigger like that. I'm gonna zoom down one more so they don't take up the whole screen. One more. Okay, so now I got this file I can work with. What I'm actually gonna do, because I wanna hear this and keep hearing it, so I'm gonna highlight this whole guy, like that. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna drag that little thing over more. That's odd. So it appears to have inserted those files before the 0. Oh, something strange is happening here. Yeah, I got like a half a beat at the beginning. I wonder if it's because this is not at the front. Move that to the front. And then let me make sure that didn't mess up my whole file I already recorded. Go. I'm gonna go back at the beginning of the song, hit play, and then figure out what my volume is. Oh, you know why? It's because I took this thing downstairs yesterday and I didn't plug the speakers back in. Oops. I did get it a little bit off, didn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a little brief lesson about how grid mode works. So in Pro Tools, you got a couple different modes how your track window can look. You got like grid mode, which is what I got right now. It's where you got all these little lines, these vertical lines, like dissecting the audio into like quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, whatever you want it to be. And then up here, you also got like slip mode, which is where your grid lines go away and you can just kind of see the audio independently without like having the reference of time or like what the meter of the song is. I basically live in grid mode all the time, forever. The only time I don't be in grid mode is like what I'm about to do, where like maybe I have to like adjust this guitar sound file. I have to like move it just right so that it lines up with the first hit of the metronome, because I'm not exactly sure, but basically whatever I had, this little tempo slider should have been all the way at the left like it appears now, but it was kind of like out here in the green. So I kind of had like a half a beat. I had like an unusual thing happening in time over here before the tempo change. So I just slid my tempo change all the way over here. And now that basically like shifted my audio track a little bit. So let me repair that right quick. I'm gonna zoom in to, I'm gonna go get my zoomy guy. So zooming in, like you could hit this thing and you could like hit this thing a few times and zoom in. Or if you like know exactly the spot you wanna zoom into, you can hit the little magnifying glass and you can just go like click the thing. I went a little too far. Sometimes it goes farther than you want it to, but that's where I'm at. So I can like, I can hear how that beat interacts with that note right there. What it appears to me is that, if I'll back it up a little more so I can have some more lead. Yeah, so I want this note to hit right on that white line, this right before it. And let me back it up a little more so we can like see the whole lead in. Yeah, in fact, okay, so more about grid mode. In grid mode, like I can control how far apart these little white lines are spaced. All I gotta do is go up here and hit this little drop down. And right now it's on 16th notes. I'm gonna put it on, let's see, I think quarter notes is what I'm playing in, I think that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna back this up at the beginning and we'll listen to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And notice that like I get to a measure like click, 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 and then this is the new measure. So like here's my 1 for the first measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's my 1 for the second measure. See how that line is like a little more pronounced, just like a little bit thicker or like heavier line thickness. So I can use that to kind of like judge where I am and get some bearing, like when I'm just like zoomed in really far like this and I'm just like looking at lines and it's hard to tell which line is which. You can use that, like this is clearly the measure line, so you can use that for some reference. So like I said, I'm gonna travel along this for a second. Let's listen. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, bop. Yeah, so that's supposed to be hitting right there on the like 5, 2, 3, 4, the whatever the downbeat of the first measure. So I'm gonna go magnifying glass. I'm gonna zoom in here. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't zoom in too far this time. Yeah, there we go. That's a little more. Oh, I went too far. It's kind of finicky on me. Okay, so I can see the note or the beat there that I want to be at. I can see my guitar thingy happen right there. What I'm going to do is actually take my grid resolution and I'm going to turn it back down to like, let's try 16th. Okay, so I got a bar now. I got a bar over here. So what I could do is I could just like splice out this little piece between these two bars, and then let's see what that sounds like, or if I need to do something else to it. Also, like, let's talk about splicing real quick. This kind of, I sat down to talk about programming drums, but it's kind of unavoidable that this also is going to basically turn into like how to edit audio and like splice and copy paste a sample or something, because basically like the way that I do the drums is kind of like very editing heavy. It is basically just editing. I'm just like taking sounds and editing them manually to create the, you know, a simulation of like the performance that I would want. And the really, I mean, also I ought to say the reason, or a reason why that's necessary for me, is because I really suck at playing drums. So I have to find like a workaround to have a good drum track, because my personal capabilities to get it done are like not, I don't have them. So if I come over here and I cut at this line, I'm gonna cut off like the very beginning of this like hit, and that's not gonna sound good. If it just like goes from like nothing and then I just like start right here with this like mountain peak of the audio file, that's gonna sound like really bad. It usually is probably gonna have like a pop. So what I wanna do actually, instead of doing a cut here at all, now that I've changed my grid resolution to 16th notes, everywhere you see one of these lines and then another one of these lines, that's a 16th note. So instead of cutting out this piece, this 16th note that like the very, very end of it has kind of like the crescendo of our hit on the guitar, I'm gonna like just scroll to the left a smidge, and I'm gonna cut out this 16th note because it's just silence when I was like waiting to play. And I can cut out this 16th note and then drag this audio file over to the left to fit right there, and it's gonna give us the same result. So, and we'll see what that sounds like. Okay, up here you got a couple different tools. You got your hand, you can like grab files and move them around with. You got this little, I call it the scalpel. It lets you like insert your cursor like with a line exactly at one spot. And then you got this thing, I don't remember what it's called, trim tool. Okay, it like, it'll take the end of a file and make it shorter. Like if you had a noise at the beginning or something like that, you wanted to just like, you know, trim the end of it. But what I like to do is I actually hit this bar up here at the top. And then what you do, you kind of have all three of these tools enabled all the time. It just depends on where you put your cursor. So if you put your cursor at the top of a audio file, like a track, then it becomes the scalpel. And if you put it at the bottom, it becomes the hand that you can grab stuff with. And if you put it like right at the edge, like I'll go over here. If you put it like right at the edge, it becomes the trim tool. Oh, another tool in here is the fade in. If you go like top left corner of a file, you can like fade it in, but we don't have anything like that just yet. Okay, so let me go back to where my cursor was, because I left my cursor where I wanted to be at. Okay, let me say another thing. When you're in Pro Tools, you can use this little blue thingy. This little blue thingy will indicate to you where your cursor is if I really left it where I wanted it. See, I'm gonna travel to the left. I'm gonna travel to the left more. No, I accidentally started over at the beginning. So that's okay. Let me just go over to where my guitar starts, because I know my guitar was starting like a smidge too late. I must be zoomed in pretty far. It's taking us a while to get there. Okay, so here's my guitar start right there. I'm gonna zoom out a smidge because I'm kind of, yeah, there we go. And then just to verify I'm in the right spot, I'm gonna sit right here with my cursor. Yeah, so that's the beginning. I'm gonna cut out this 16th note. So how I do that, I'm gonna take my little scalpel tool, or whatever it's called, whatever they call it. the selector tool. I like to call it the scalpel. I'm gonna click this line right here, and I'm gonna hold Apple and hit E. And that's gonna make an incision right there. And then I'm gonna go to the next line, and I'm gonna click right there with my scalpel. And I'm gonna hold Apple and hit E, pop. And now I got a little incision right there. Now I can put my cursor at the bottom so I get the hand, and I'll click that to select that file, and I hit delete on the keyboard, pop, like that. Now that little 16th note is gone, and I can take this file and drag it over a 16th note. So see how the beginning of this little bop kind of lines up with the line now? And let's back it up a little bit, and we'll listen to that. My screen got dim on me for some reason. All right, backing it up more. In fact, let's back it up to the beginning. Because I know I'm at the beginning of the 5th measure. I should be. So let's see if this lines up now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give it to me, yeah. Okay, so we got that thing like repaired. I kind of like, you know, messed that up, but now we got that fixed in time. So what we can do now is start to tweak with our drums. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit so I can like grab these files, and I'm gonna actually grab all 4 of these files like this. Okay, so like also grabbing stuff. You can click down here with your hand and then hold shift on the keyboard, and you can click more stuff like that. Or you can, to select a bunch of stuff, you can just like come down here with your scalpel, and you can just like click and hold on the mouse, and you can drag. And as long as you encompass everything totally, then when you go to move it, everything will move together. So I'm just gonna scoot this down to where the guitar starts to do guitaring. So at the beginning here, it's gonna be just guitar for the first little womp, 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 womp. And then once the guitar kind of like stops, then when it comes back in, that's when everything's gonna come back in. So I'm scooting it all, I'm scooting it. Okay, so this would be like the first drum interaction right here. There's my little pause where the guitar pauses. So what I gotta do is, I'm gonna see which one of these drum sounds is the soundiest, because I'm only gonna need to like move one first for now. Let me just unmute these. Also, we got like mute, that means you don't hear it. Solo, it means you hear only that thing. Input monitor, I don't know, I never even clicked that. And then you got record enable, like if you wanted to record over this track. That's what them little guys are for. I'm gonna solo, yep, this guy, the first one, the top one, the purple kick beater mic. And I'm gonna hit play and see what that sounds like. Okay, sounds pretty bad, kind of cardboardy. I'm gonna solo the kick hole and hit play on that. Okay, that sounds a little better. I'm gonna solo the snare bottom and hit play. Okay, very snarey. And the snare top and hit play. Okay, cool. So basically you can see how like if we blended those sounds, you would get like a very realistic sound of a drum, because we kind of like are really capturing the acoustic essence of it. What I want to do for right now, basically everywhere I put one of these, like the beater mic for the kick, I'm also going to put one of these. Like these are going to basically like live together. Why I want them on different tracks is so I can kind of like modify them independently with plugins and stuff like that. Compress them or EQ them differently. But I know they're gonna go the same places all the time. So what I can do for like at the beginning, I can just take one, like let's say I'll take the top one, kick beater, and I can just put it where I want the kick to be at. And then when I get done doing that, as you know, let's say it's like programmed or whatever you want to say, then I can just like get this one and just paste it everywhere the other one is, so that they'll be together. So here's how we're gonna do this. If I zoom in down here, again, let me look right at this file. This kick, it basically starts right here at the beginning. Like that's where the actual audio file is. Let me zoom in one more smidge. So like if I put my mouse at the very beginning right here and I have it soloed, when I hit play, it starts playing as soon as I hit play. All right, that's kind of because of how I already, when I captured this sample, that was how I edited it. But what that gets us is that like I can use the front of this as like a reference, like a flush line, and I can put it on these white lines and it'll like actuate as soon as the cursor hits the line, which basically like makes it very repeatable, or I don't know what the word is, but really uniform kind of timing, and it's easy to place in time. So here's how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna click this file and I'm gonna hold Apple and I'm gonna hit C. That copies the file. Now what I can do, anywhere I go, if I like find where some guitar is, like there's like the first guitar hit that's gonna have drums with it, I can click right here on that line and I can hold Apple and hit paste, like that. And then the kick lines up with the guitar. Let me zoom out a smidge. And then when I hit play, oh, I got it soloed still, my bad. Okay, I gotta turn it up, you can't hear it. Mix window, Apple Plus. Here's my kick beater. Okay, so now I'm getting kicked with that first hit of the guitar. The way I'm trying to do this drum thing is I'm kind of going like, so like the kick is basically like hitting all the quarter notes. So because of that, what I want to do, I'll zoom in down here, just a smidge. And I'm gonna see, okay, so this kick, I think the file is as big as it can get, so I can't drag it to the end of that one. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut it back just a smidge so that it occupies like a uniform distance between these lines. And then I'm gonna copy this guy and I'm gonna go to here and paste. Pop, and then I'm gonna go to here and paste, and then I'm gonna go to here and paste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's gonna be like 7 hits that are like kind of vanilla, and then the weird like flam, or I don't know the drum words, but like the weird thing that like sounds like a drum roll kind of is gonna happen. So I'll listen to this. Okay, so let's leave that. Let's put some snare. Some snare. I'm gonna get the snare bottom. Snare with it. Dun, dun, dun. So the third one, the snare is gonna hit on the third quarter note. Bum, bum, psh, bum, 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 psh. It's 4 and 6, I think. Yeah. 1, 2, or I think it's 4 and 7 maybe, but either way. So I'm gonna, same thing here. I'm gonna actually like trim this to like be lined up with the thing. Let me make sure that didn't make it sound bad. Sometimes if you cut too much off of a snare, like, because the snare kind of like rings out for longer than a lot of people realize. If you kind of trim it, it'll sound unnatural. Like, I mean, I'll just show you. Like if I did this. Like it's obvious that that's not right, but I think this was, yeah, that's adequate. Okay, so this one goes there. I'm gonna copy that guy, you know, Control or whatever, Apple C, and then let me play it again and make sure I drop it on the right one. I'm soloed. Yeah, this one gets one. And make sure you're pasting this on the right track. Like I don't want to paste it here because that's the track for the kick hole. I don't want to paste it down here. Like I want to paste the right file on the right track, because your track is what's going to hold all your plugins. Once we start like mixing these things, modifying the sound of these sounds, we're going to have plugins for every sound that's like just for that sound. Okay, so I got all the way up to the thing with the little drum rolly thing. Let's listen to that one time. And then this would be like my next kick right here, I think. Let me verify that. Yeah, so here's my next downbeat. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna copy that guy, and I'll put him there as like a placeholder. So that's gonna tell me how long this little drum fill has to be. Basically, like I have to figure out how to compose this little drum fill that goes. So how I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have to zoom in one more little touch. Pop. And I'm gonna go to right here. So in between there and there is where my drum fill goes, right? If I play this. Okay, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to use probably a smaller resolution. Let me tell you why I'm gonna say that. Whenever I'm in 1/16th note, it like affects where I can put these files. Let me show you what I mean. Let me just duplicate this. I'll leave this as a marker, like you can see where the snare is. But if I just take this, or let me tell you another way to copy. If I hold the Option key while I click this file, and then I drag it somewhere, when I let go, it'll make a copy of it there. So I'm just gonna like take this file and make a couple of these, and we'll listen to how far apart they are. Oh, that's actually about what I needed. Okay, I'm probably gonna take back what I was about to say. Like, I was thinking we were gonna have to have a smaller resolution so I could like utilize like the divisions of time that are here in the middle, but it actually sounds like that's enough rate of fire for us to make it go. So here's what we want to do. Let me just delete that. Okay, so let me back it up. Give myself just enough tail where I can see what's going on. Okay, so I think my kick's gonna start here. So I'm gonna Option drag this one over here, and we'll see if that's right. Yeah, and then let me Option drag one more. Okay, no, it's a little late. Let me actually crank up my resolution a smidge higher. And I'll come in here and I'll just mod this whole thing back. Just a smidge. Let's see if that's better. It's still a little late. Basically where I put the first kick is where the second one should go. Okay, that's it. So my kick's hitting now. If you think about it, like that feel, like to my knowledge, like if I'm thinking about it, it's actually like a standard rate of fire. Like all the hits are hitting at the same rate. Like there's not a lot of like, what am I trying to say? Like rhythmic variation in that fill. It's basically just a drum roll that's shared by the kick and the snare. So because I can see now where my kick is, like I got a hit there, and then I got like a dead space, and then I got a hit there. It's a pretty like safe guess that like I'm gonna have another dead space, and then my snare should be right there to like make this drum roll do the thing it's gonna do. Because like a drum roll, essentially when it's like you're just like rolling consistently on one drum, all the hits are evenly spaced. So like because I can see the divisions of time visually in here with these little white lines, I can like kind of use that to cheat and just like almost like copy paste the pattern once I start to like figure out what the pattern's supposed to be to get the right stuff. So let me back that up a smidge and we'll hear that whole thing. Yeah, so that's good. So I think I can just take these, let me go U2 and hold Option, and this should like give another dead space and then have another kick. Now you're gonna see I'm actually starting to like cover up the front kick like on the next downbeat, but I can fix it. Let me just make sure that sounded right like I thought it should. Yeah, and then I wanna just edge this back a smidge so I can like have my downbeat again. And I'm just missing a snare now, so I need one more snare drag over to here. I'm just like, oh, I went one too short. I'm gonna go undo. Oh, undo, you can always go Apple Z. Apple Z is undo if you make a boo-boo. Okay, so let's try this whole fill now. Yeah, so I can, what I really wanna do is, I'm gonna delete this downbeat kick now because I know that that's where it is and I don't need it there as a placeholder anymore. And I'm gonna copy this whole kick sequence that I've made right here. Let me make the resolution a little smaller, like 1/8 notes maybe. Yeah, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this guy. I'm gonna hold Shift and click this guy. I'm gonna Apple C to like copy that whole sequence. Then I'm gonna scalpel tool to this cursor and go Apple V. And I'm gonna scalpel tool to this cursor and go Apple V. And I'm gonna go scalpel tool to this cursor and go Apple V. And I'm gonna scalpel tool to this cursor. Basically, I selected the 4 measures or however many measures I had, and then I can just paste that 4 measures everywhere, as long as I know the drum's gonna get looped, like the pattern or whatever. Now, I can still come back in here and like manually change any one of these. Like if I just decided arbitrarily that I wanted like one hit of the kick to be whatever, off time or whatever I want it to be, I can always come back and do that. Nothing's gonna stop me from doing that. But this is gonna be a good starting point to like get the drums programmed. I can do this to the kick and then I'll do it to the snare and then we'll play back the whole thing. And okay, so here's where the song kind of changes. I'm not gonna program this whole song because this video is already super long already. But I can do that. And then same thing here, I can do the same trick, but I gotta be a little bit careful because this is actually the downbeat and it cuts that snare hit off. So what I think I wanna do is, let me go copy, okay. Instead of like selecting this and then holding shift and selecting this one, because if I did that, it's only gonna give me this little bar and then it's hard for me to like use the scalpel line to cut where I want to cut, because like when I'm pasting, I'm not pasting all the way over to here. My paste selection starts right there. So what I'm going to do instead on that one is I'm going to start here at the beginning and hold with my cursor. I'm going to copy all the way over to the end of this last snare hit and I'll copy that, you know, Apple C. And now whenever I paste, I'll actually like paste dead space at the beginning. Well, let me think about that. No, because then it's going to cut off the end of that snare hit every time. What I need to do is stop, what is that, a 16th? What are we on? I need to stop an 1/8 of an inch short so I don't cut off that snare. So I'll start not at the 0, but an 1/8 of an inch like late, and I'll copy over to here like that, copy. And then whenever I hit my selection to insert, I'll just hit at the end of that snare hit because it's an 1/8 of an inch. It's a 1/8 note late. I probably said an 1/8 of an inch a second ago. Now I'm gonna go paste. Yeah, and so that will line up that all. Now to make sure I got my spacing right, I should listen to those two and make sure I didn't mess up my pattern. So let's see. Okay, so that worked. So we're cooking now. I can just come in here and paste. I can come in here and paste. And here's another thing you can do. If you have like a big thing like this where we're just gonna like paste the same thing for a lot of times, I can paste it 3 or 4 times and then I can come in here and get me a better like clipboard selection. So now that I have a lot of these, maybe like 3 measures or 4 measures worth, I can come from here and go all the way to here. I wanna stop at, you know, I wanna be an 1/8 note late. I'll copy that, and then I'll come over to the end of this file, and I can paste the whole shebang. So it's like, I'm not like pasting every single note, which would be like, you know, it would make it a lot more like time prohibitive or whatever the right word is. Okay, so let's listen to the whole thing now, and we should have the first third of this song, or really the first half. If you look at the whole song, we're about halfway done on the kick and snare. Let's see. So that worked really good. So yeah, this is obviously like a longer video than I've really done. Apologize for that. Maybe I should have organized what I thought I was going to come in here and teach before I started doing the video. But that's basically what I got. Again, I'm sure that there are better ways to do everything you just saw me do. That's just how I do it. That's how I prefer to do it. I feel like it gives me like a lot of good control over exactly what happens and what doesn't happen. Um, you know, so if I could play better drums, I would probably just play the drums and mic them, and it would be good. What I will do, I almost said what I do. What I will do after I get the whole song programmed, kick and snare, I will actually set up cymbals and toms and record the cymbals and toms live with microphones. I'm just not good enough at drums to have my kick track and my snare track be like consistently on beat the way that I need them to be for the song to sound legit. Like if the kick and the snare are like super solid on the beat every time, like they have like that robotic kind of like you know, accuracy, then the whole song sounds pretty legit, even if other percussion elements are kind of like maybe a little more loose with like how in time they are. But your kick and your snare is like, if it's off, it's like sounds super amateur. Okay, so thanks everybody for your time. If you watched this whole ramble thingy, and y'all be good.